Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel, Sister Sisters.
So today, Jessie and I are going to be discussing infertility and infertility with cystic fibrosis, because that's another thing that we do struggle with. And for all of you out there who are trying to get pregnant, even if you don't have CF, just know that, our hearts and, warm wishes are with you guys. Yeah. It's a very hard journey, and it's very sad at times, but just know that there's usually always, a light at the end of the tunnel, and yes. I'm starting my own journey, and I will let Jessie start off with hers, and we'll kind of get into how it affects cystic fibrosis, having children for men and women.
So my journey began 3 years after I got married. We were trying naturally to conceive a child, and it just didn't happen. So we referred to a reproductive endocrinologist who suggested that we would do genetic testing, and that was just to determine if our child was to have cystic fibrosis. And my husband and I discussed it, and we just thought, it does not matter, whatever God gives us, that's just the way it's supposed to be. Some people are against that, it's your own opinion, but that's what we did. We were then put through various tests just to make sure that our reproductive organs were working correctly, which they were. And we ended up deciding on IUI, which is intrauterine insemination or artificial insemination.
Yeah.
And we did 2 rounds of natural, which means there's no medication involved. The third one was medicated, and the medication was clomid that I was on for about 5 days, and that's just to stimulate ovulation. And you're monitored, and you get ultrasounds to make sure your eggs and your lining look good for a possible baby. Once it looks good enough, they give you what's called a trigger shot, and that's just usually an injection, and you do it in your stomach, and that just signals your body to definitely ovulate within, I think, the next 24 to 36 hours. Mm-hmm. And then they time your procedure the next day. So our third attempt on IUI, the medicated cycle, I did get pregnant. And
yay!
I know, it was crazy.
We got our wormy, aka Ava.
Yeah.
Who we love more than anything. She was our little miracle baby.
She was, yeah. But I just wanted to touch, I don't want to get too in-depth into my journey, because some of it's kind of private, but I just want others to know out there that, I understand how hard it is to go through infertility. And yes, maybe I had it a little bit easier. I only had to go through three rounds. Some people go years and years and years, and I know how hard it is to see a negative pregnancy test time after time, especially when you've convinced yourself you're pregnant. Yeah. And for women that are out there trying to conceive, I bet you all know the 2-week wait is the worst.
Yeah, it's hell. I tortured, well, I'll get into my story in a minute, but yes, it's torture.
It is. You think every twinge, every weird feeling, you are pregnant, there's a baby in there. I'm not even allowed to have pregnancy tests in our house because I just take them, because I like to take them.
Same.
Yeah. But, so I got pregnant. I delivered at 38 weeks, and I was on 9/9/16. She was born at 3:48 a.m., and it was a bitch of a labor. It was like 30 hours of pure hell.
Yeah. But watching Jessie being in labor, it was the most terrifying thing. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can do this. But then once I saw my niece, I'm like, all right, this probably is worth it.
And kudos to natural birth mothers. Didn't do it. I still had drugs to help me, and it was horrible. Yeah. Horrible. But I got my sweet little Ava out of it. So, and she is 2.5 now, and she is a handful. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a little bit of my journey. So let me just switch it over to Beck to see where she's at.
Yes. And just to give you guys a little bit of a background, this is for, they say it's for most women with CF, but it's not always a problem. So for us, the cervical mucus is too thick. It's not a good environment for sperm to make it not to fertilize. Yes, to fertilize an egg. Yeah. And for men, what is it?
I think there's a blockage in their vas deferens. I think that's like the technical term. So technically, 98%, I think, are considered sterile, but they have means of having babies now through IVF.
Yeah, which basically, for them, I think doctors physically have to go in and
retrieve the semen.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, which for a lot of men, it was really depressing. Most of them were just told, you're not going to be able to ever have kids, and it's great to know that there's other options.
Yes. But we were born in a good time.
Yes. But as for me, so just seeing Jessie go through this, and I admit I'm very impatient, and I didn't really want to waste time.
We both are very impatient and impulsive sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. And just knowing that, she's my blood, she's my family, I kind of just assumed I would have the same sort of problems. So I was like, you know what, I don't want to just do the crap of, oh, let's try for a year and just wait.
Yeah, she went right at it.
Yeah, and it's not being morbid, but it's just kind of like with CF, time is just something that's never on our side.
Right.
You know, just in 2 seconds, things can change. You can go from being really well and feeling great to where you feel like absolute shit. And, you know, trying to become pregnant is extremely hard, like right now. Got my PICC line.
Hey, we said in the last video it wouldn't be too long before someone was hooked up.
Look no further. It's here. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't feeling good for a few weeks, and I knew it was time, but what's kind of funny about this, I mean, it's not really funny. So we had another IUI scheduled, but I'll get into that in a second. So my husband and I have been trying since October. So what is that? November, December, okay, call it like 6 or 7 months we've been trying.
Give or take.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just decided, you know, we were going to wait and just kind of see what happens. But I didn't really have any high hopes that it was going to work.
I did.
I didn't. So I spoke with my CF team, and they referred me to an infertility specialist in Boston. So I've been going there for months now. And it's kind of crazy because once we started doing all the testing, I pretty much did the same thing that Jessie did, all the same tests and whatnot. But we found out, one, I have a thyroid issue. So that can cause infertility and can increase your chances of miscarriages. Yeah. So I am on medication for that now. Also,
thank God you pushed to have all those blood tests done. Because normally I feel like I never had any issues with that.
Yeah. But, I mean, as a hairdresser, I mean, there are certain things that I notice, you know, with hair. And for me, I was shedding a lot of hair. It started when I stopped my birth control in October, which I had been on since I was 16. So I knew it was a hormonal imbalance, but I was like, there's just something not right. I'm losing a lot in the shower, so that's what kind of led me to be like, hey, guys, let's check the thyroid. And, you know, of course, the levels were a little high. Also, too, when they did my blood work, they found out I had really high prolactin levels, which is only common in women who are breastfeeding or are pregnant, which I was neither of those. Right. So it's like, oh, well, okay, then what is it?
Tell them what you have to do. Tell them what your nurse tells you before your blood work.
What?
She's like, make sure no one stimulates your nipples before your blood work.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, it's like, okay, Ax, that was really an issue you had to worry about. But anyways... Yeah, so basically, your pituitary gland sits right here, and it releases hormones into your body. And for me, they actually found that I have a small tumor right there. It's non-cancerous, but...
Can they remove it if you need it?
Yeah, if it becomes a problem, but it's so tiny. So that's why my body was producing so much prolactin, which, again, they didn't want to start doing infertility treatment until that was dealt with because it probably wouldn't have worked. I mean, my levels were like in the high 50s. And they should have been, I think, like under 20. Yeah. So I've been on medication for that ever since as well. And it's just kind of frustrating. It's like, okay, well, we already have CF as an issue. Now we got 2 other underlying health issues that are making this a bigger pain in the ass. Sure. So, yes. So my husband and I just did our first IUI about a month ago. Unmedicated. My doctors, Jessie went through clomid and... You know,
pro-clomid.
Yeah, everything went fine for her, but, you know, there are people I know who have, you know, gone on clomid, and yes, it increases your chances of having multiples, which for CF can be very dangerous. Yeah. I totally respect her opinion, and I get that, but she basically wants me to keep doing unmedicated IUIs, and if it doesn't work, then to try IVF, which is a whole other expensive journey. But right now, I just decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a fair shot. So the first IUI did not work.
That was hard, because I really thought it worked, too.
And I did, too, and it was kind of like I convinced myself, like Jessie said, when you want a baby, you're like, oh, it's there. There's something growing in me.
And remember we were talking about being teenagers, and you're doing all this work to prevent pregnancy.
I was like, my God, the amount of money I spent on tests being like, oh, please, God, no, not
I'll never do it again.
I won't do it again. And now I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. Another $20 wasted, and it's a negative test. Yeah. So this time, I completely stressed myself out, and I almost think the stress of this is what made me so sick, and now I have tubes in me. I think it's kind of my own fault. Yeah. But along with CF issues. But so it didn't work. I ended up getting my period a lot earlier than I normally did, and I honestly just felt crushed. I was just extremely angry, and right now I'm just around a ton of people who right now are all just getting pregnant or are about to have a baby. Yeah. And I'm super happy for them. It's not that I want to be resentful, but it's painful because you're just like, please, I just want this. And you don't want to
feel like a dick and be like, oh, I'm not happy for them, because I am. But it's just like, well, why can't this just happen for me?
Or, you know, and I'm sure all of you out there can agree with me on this one. Look at all the people, you know, who shouldn't be having kids and, you know, who are just completely irresponsible, and here you are doing all the right things, and it just doesn't happen. But, you know, the 2-week wait, I tortured myself. I was a lunatic and was testing every day because, yeah, it was totally going to show up, not.
Yeah.
So after that, I was
like I said, I'm not even allowed to have pregnancy tests in my house.
I can't. And even when I didn't have the test, I'd be like, oh, God, but I felt a little cramp. You know what? I should go test because, yeah, it probably will show up.
It turns you psychotic. All women that are trying to conceive are psychotic, and that's okay.
Yeah. And I just decided after that, I was like, you know what? We're going to have to obviously do this again, but I am not going to torture myself this time because this was just miserable.
Yeah.
And putting more stress on yourself does not help the situation. So but it's funny though, I just got my PICC line in and I've been extremely sick and I'm out of work for the next couple weeks, but I already had my heart set on doing another IUI. I didn't even have any interest doing it. I just felt like crap. I was tired. I was like, whatever, just get in and get out. It's probably not even going to work. Never. And you know, I still have to wait another week and a half, but honestly, I have not gone near the pharmacy to get a pregnancy test. I don't even want to know.
We haven't even talked about it.
No, and anytime she's asked me, like, how have you been feeling? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, don't even go there.
We just focus on other stuff.
Other stuff. And because I feel so crappy right now, I think, you know, it sucks, but at least it's been a good distraction, kind of kept my mind off of it. But you know, my husband is great. You know, we're a great team, and, you know, he's just been super patient with this, but it's just stressful. I mean, especially because, I mean, we're paying for this out of pocket, and I'm sure all of you guys out there gone through fertility treatment, whether it's IUI, IVF, it is so costly, and it is so stressful, mentally and physically.
And we had it easy. Don't mind our dogs in the background. But we lost at least $5,000 with our first 2 IUIs. Yeah. So it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, and it's a lot of, you know, stress on a marriage, too.
Yeah. And it's just extremely hard. And then I think just as women with CF, you know, we ultimately believe that it's our fault. And you sit there.
It's just like, can't this body do one damn thing, right?
Yeah. And I've gone through this myself where I'm like, okay, my husband's already my caretaker for me. He already has to compensate and pay for all my bills. Yeah. And then it leaves you with more guilt, like, okay, this is something a woman should be able to do, and I can't do it. And it makes you feel really shitty. But obviously, he doesn't blame me, and he says we're in this together, but it's definitely hard.
And I will say that I definitely found comfort in YouTube with other women trying to conceive. I watched all their videos, like Matt and April, Ayla and Caleb that just gave birth to their baby. Big fans of them, and they definitely helped me through my own personal journey, and you kind of felt like you had a buddy, you know, trekking along with you. So
yeah. So we want you guys to know that, you know, this is a real issue and that, you know, we're there with you. I mean, I'm not pregnant yet and haven't been through this, you know, completely, but Jesse's been there, and I can at least say from a standpoint of, I know what it's like to just be disappointed, have your heart set on something, and just being so frustrated that it doesn't work, and having to walk through life and see, you know, all these people around you. It's really hard.
Shut up, boo.
Yeah, sorry, our dogs are being extremely loud in the cats.
It's feeding time.
Yes. But we just wanted to kind of talk about that today, and, you know, like I said, all you guys out there who are trying, we wish you guys the best of luck, and just know that this is another issue that we have to deal with CF, but you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, a baby is worth it. Having a family is worth all the bullshit that you have to go through.
And hopefully if you get pregnant, we can do, like, pregnancy vlogs with you.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
So hopefully I will have some news for you guys in a few weeks. Maybe not, and that's okay if I don't, but right now I just have to focus on
crossing our fingers it worked.
Yes.
But we will see you next Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. It helps us really, it really helps us. So please, thank you. Peace.